Now, you know I like to review a lot of ultra portables on the channel. Most of them, of course, around the 13 or 14 inch range. Sometimes you can get a 15-inch ultra portable, but rarely do we see a 17-inch ultra portable, and that's what LG has produced for the last couple of years. So when LG hit me up to check out their all-new 2020 LG Gram 17, I was very intrigued and I quickly jumped on it. And I'm glad I did. It has a gorgeous 17-inch 2K display. It's really beautiful, and of course LG, we know, makes great displays, so I'm not surprised by that. It's running Intel's 10th generation processor. It's the Ice Lake processor. It's got Intel Iris Plus graphics. It has a really nice large battery, and it has a numeric keypad for those that like to crunch numbers. And it all comes in under 3 pounds. That's right, this thing is ultra light. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my unboxing and review of the LG Gram 17, all new for 2020. Coming up. Want to see more videos like this? Why not hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell. This way you'll be alerted every time I post a new video. And make sure you follow me on my social media, especially Twitter and Instagram. That's where I post all the latest updates. Now, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, LG provided this review unit. They're not paying me, they're not sponsoring me. All the opinions you're about to hear are all my own. The LG Gram 17 comes in at $1,849.99 US. Yes, that's not cheap, although you are getting a very premium 17-inch Ultrabook, not something we see every day. And keep in mind, I've seen LG run some sales. I've seen it as low as $1,650 as recently as a few weeks ago. So keep your eye on the link below. I'll put the latest pricing and where you can buy it. The big deal here is they're using DDR4 3200 RAM. That's up from the 2400. It now has Wi-Fi 6, NVMe PCIe SSD. That's up from the SATA. It uses a 1 terabyte in terms of storage. That's up from 512 gigabytes. It now runs 10th generation Intel processors versus the 8th gen. It now has Intel Iris Plus graphics, an 80 watt hour battery. That's up from the 72 watt hour from the prior generation, and it weighs a little bit more than last year's model. And with that out of the way, let's find out what you get inside the box. Let's open it up. Inside the box is an extension cord, a 65 watt power adapter. It's also a barrel pin connector, but you could also charge via the Thunderbolt 3 port. We'll get into that a little bit later. You get an Ethernet adapter, as well as some documentation and warranty information. And of course, you get the laptop itself, and I can't believe just how thin and light this actually is. Now, this is the first time I'm holding it, and it simply blows my mind. Now, the first thing you'll notice, this is incredibly light. It's only 2.98 pounds or 1.35 kilograms. As I mentioned, slightly up from last year's model, but that's because it has a bigger battery. And even though this is super light and thin and made of a magnesium alloy, it's still extremely durable, earning a military standard 810G rating. That means this was designed to take a licking and keep on ticking. And of course, as we always do, let's check out the port selection. Okay, let's start off on the left side where you get your power port, a USB-A port, an HDMI port, a Thunderbolt 3 port that supports data charge and display out. Moving over to the right side, you get your micro SD card slot for storage expansion, a 3.5mm audio jack, 2 more USB-A ports, and a Kensington lock port. That's a pretty nice port selection. Now, there's good news when it comes to user upgradability. You can swap out the SSDs. There are 2 slots for those. And of course, you could swap out the RAM. That's also very good. It has a single fan here, as you can see, for cooling. And it also has an 80 watt hour battery. It did really well in my battery test. It did a very impressive 11 hours and 47 minutes on my continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. What that translates into is all-day battery life, and that's something we definitely like to see. Now, there are 2 SSDs, both 512 gigabytes, and they did well in terms of the reads and writes as indicated by the numbers. Now, one thing to note, the Wi-Fi card is soldered into the motherboard. You won't be able to upgrade that, but you really don't need to because it has the latest Wi-Fi 6, and it also has Bluetooth 5.0. All worked well in terms of uploads, downloads, and range. Okay, let's talk about performance. What we're looking at here is Intel's 10th generation processor. It's the Core i7-1065G7, aka Ice Lake processor. Intel Iris Plus graphics are here. That means you could play some of the older titles in terms of games. If you want to lower the settings, you'll get playable frame rates. However, if you want to play the most modern AAA titles on the highest settings, that's not really what this laptop is all about, although you can add an external GPU via that Thunderbolt 3 port, so that gives you an option right there. It handled everything really well, things like Microsoft Office, email, web browsing. You could also do 1080p video editing, although 4K video editing, I really wouldn't do it with this laptop. Now, I would say thermals are actually pretty average, not terrible, but not great either. Definitely gets pretty hot when you really push it with heavy load. Okay, let's talk about that star of the show, and that would be, of course, its 17-inch display. It has a resolution of 2560 by 1600. That means this is a 2K display, and it is excellent. You get some really deep blacks, some very vibrant colors, excellent contrast, and it also has very accurate colors. It covers the color gamut really well, 97% sRGB, 73% Adobe RGB, 73% of the P3 wide color gamut, and 67% NTSC. That means this is a very good choice for those that want to do video editing, Photoshop, and of course, Lightroom. And it comes in at 410 nits, making this a very bright display, good enough for both indoor and outdoor use. It's really good. But keep in mind, this is also a glossy display, so you might have some issues in direct sunlight, but overall, really good brightness. And I also love the fact that it has a 16:10 aspect ratio. That means you can use this for productivity work and also consuming media. I think 16:10 is the best of both worlds. And it has some pretty slim side bezels with a minimal top bezel, which of course houses the webcam. Now the bottom bezel is a little bit noticeable, but then again, this is still a 17-inch laptop at the end of the day. So this is the front-facing camera on the LG Gram 17 for 2020, and it's good for Skype, it's good for video conferencing, things like Zoom. Definitely will work, especially during this pandemic where a lot of people are still working from home, and this is, of course, makes the camera very important. I would say it's okay, not the best I've ever seen, certainly not the worst. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Now, the camera itself is not Windows Hello compatible, meaning you cannot log in with face recognition, but the power button does double as a fingerprint scanner that is Windows Hello compatible. Setup was easy and worked really well. Now, the fingerprint scanner is embedded into the BIOS, so that means your fingerprint will be stored in the BIOS and allows you to log in really quickly. When you turn it on with one touch, you're already logged in. Now we're looking at an improved keyboard from the last generation. I like the tactile feedback. It now has better key travel in my opinion, and it also really is comfortable to type on for extended periods of time. It also has a multi-stage backlight. That means you can get work done in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. It all worked well. And all of you number crunchers out there will appreciate the fact that this has a numeric keypad that allows you to crunch those numbers in Excel spreadsheets and the like. And another big improvement is its precision touchpad. I thought it was nicely sized. It really felt responsive. Two-finger scrolling was buttery smooth, and all the Windows 10 gestures worked as advertised. They did an excellent job. The LG Gram 17 sports two bottom-facing speakers. They're 1.5 watts each, and they are DTS-X Ultra, so you get the software to tune them. Now, there is a hint of bass. I would say the audio is average, not great, but not bad at all. It will definitely get the job done, definitely loud enough to fill up the room. So to wrap it all up, can I recommend the 2020 LG Gram 17? And the answer is an absolute yes. This is a 17-inch ultra portable, which is not something we see very often. Now it has a 17-inch display with a 16:10 aspect ratio. I like its 2K resolution. I like the fact that this is shockingly light, under 3 pounds. Excellent battery life, improved keyboard and touchpad, solid performance out of that 10th generation Ice Lake processor, good array of ports, roomy 1 terabyte of SSD storage. Now here's the thing that I'm not crazy about. No touchscreen, no discrete GPU option, and yes, it can get expensive. But there are no real deal breakers here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give the 2020 LG Gram 17 a score of 92%, making it worth your money. So what do you think about this bad boy, the LG Gram 17? Really incredibly thin and light, 17-inch display, less than 3 pounds. Pretty amazing stuff. Magnesium alloy, military standard 810G rating. That means this can take a licking and keep on ticking. Very durable. Don't let the weight and size fool you. This thing is very durable. Good performance out of that 10th generation Ice Lake processor. Pair that with the Intel Iris Plus graphics and you get good performance. So as far as the battery life is concerned, this has an 80 watt-hour battery. That's up from last year's model. And I can tell you're gonna get all-day battery life, 11 plus hours, of course, and it worked out really well in that regard. Now, it's not cheap, coming in at $1,850 US. Of course, I did see it on sale recently for $1,650, so keep your eye on LG. They will run some sales every now and then. I will put the latest pricing, of course, in the link below. But I really do think it's worth it because you're getting a 17-inch ultra portable. That's not something we see very often. You normally see the 13, 14, and even 15-inch range, but not 17 inches. Now, the key here, of course, if you like to crunch numbers, the keyboard has a numeric keypad, and that might work out well for you accountants out there and those who need something to travel with and crunch those numbers. Now, as far as the display is concerned, I'm really impressed with that 17-inch 2K display. Absolutely gorgeous, and we expect nothing less, of course. LG makes great displays in their TVs. This should be no exception, and it isn't. It really is an excellent display in every regard. It covers the color gamut really well, has good color accuracy, and of course it gets bright, over 400 nits, and that's exactly what we want to see for both indoor and outdoor use. Now, one thing I could have wanted to see on this, of course, is a touch display option. We don't get that here, although you never know, maybe next iteration they will add a touch display option for the 17-inch LG Gram. But I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know in the comment section below. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMD Tech. See ya.